Yo, what's good? It's your boy BDELL. I am back with an esoteric movie breakdown. If you're new to this channel, hit that like button, hit that share button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. But today I'm going to be decoding the new Avatar movie and how it's showing you the reality of genetical self-preservation that's connected to horizontal gene transfer by transmuting the consciousness of mankind into the avatars of the original people for mass genocide, colonization, dehumanization, and for the usurpation of geographical landmass and resources, right? So with all that being said, we finna get straight to it. I got so much to share with you guys today. Got a lot. So first, we're going to start off with the tree of life. So what you got to understand is that the tree of life is what connects you to the energetic imprint of the universe. So this is how you tap into the Akashic records. So that basically denotes the fact that the trees had a bioluminescent elixir for was an anti-aging process, and that anti-aging process was conducive to the Navi people, right? So when you're talking about the blue people in the Avatar movie, that's why they're basically the personification of the cat people all throughout ancient history. So that's synonymous to nine lives. So the elixir in itself was an anti-aging agent, right? So they had a liquor blue, a juice that extracted fruit that combined with monatomic gold and lived for thousands of years. Because monatomic gold, when you amalgamate it with colloidal silver, that would basically turn your biological and genetical structure blue, right? So that's why, even when you look at the tail of these people, of the Navi people, like I said, it connects you to the ethers, right? So that's when they hooked up their tail, their ether, into the tree of life, because the trees were basically like nature's Wi-Fi towers that connect you to nature. So due to nanogenetic mind control, they basically usurped, your metaphysical abilities to where you can tap into the ethers is with genetically modified food. So now you cannot tap into that frequency now. And also because they cut down them trees, right? So also when you look at the genetical sequence of the Navi people and the Avatar people, Avatar people on the right side, the Navi people on the right side. So there's a dichotomy between the two. The Navi people, right, they have four fingers. The other ones, the colonizers who took on the anatomy and the avatar of the original people, who are the Navi, they took up on the genetical structure and they have five fingers. So that's how you could tell who's who and what's what. So when you also understand these other these primordial entities that come from a different star system, you got many different types of alien and extraterrestrial life on the planet. Most of the agreeable ones, they have four fingers. The disagreeable ones have five fingers, but that's because they basically copulated with the frequency of mankind, right? So now when you look at the whole story of the Black nobility, the Black nobility story is also synonymous to everything of how they colonized the planet. So when you look at this picture on the right, the picture on the right is basically the symbology of the fact you had the dirty Moors who were kicked out of Algonquin, Spain, right? They was kicked out of Spain, and then they came over here, uh, and they basically usurped our birthright, who are the Native American. The Native American people, who are your so-called Black people, are the personification who are basically indigenous to the land. So the same thing basically transpired in the movie. So you got the Avatar. So you got the colonizers who took the avatar of the original people and they colonized the geographical landmass of Pandora when you're talking about the Navi. So that's why they had to amalgamate with the Medicaya people, who are the reef people, who are the personification of the Nomos. So the people that you see on the right side, these black guys right here, who are the dirty Moors, these are the seeds of Enlil that infiltrated the seeds of Enki. So when you understand the Anunnaki story, right? The Anunnaki story is basically the personification of the fact that Enki is indigenous to the land, right? He's also the personification of the blue dragon, which equates to the color spectrum of the Avatar people, right? So now when you look at it from that perspective, you got to look at everything is based on linguistics. You got to study etymology. So now when you go to the Montauk Book of the Dead by Peter Morrison, by Peter Moon, it says that the Moor is that comes from the Roman word moros, which is dark skin, right? Which also means in ancient Hebrew means beginning or head, or mao, which means cat, right? So now then you look at the right side of it, the Moors have been referred to as cat people. When you learn the Moorish tradition, that they were the original architects of the Giza Plateau, we have some common ground. The ancient Egyptians, who are the Kemetic people, honored the cat beyond all other animals. In fact, it was a capital offense to kill a cat in ancient Egypt. That's because a cat has the ability, like I said, it's synonymous to 9 lives, right? So that's why the Navi people, they lived for thousands of years, because they was connected, their ethers was connected to, the non-ether was connected to the tree of life, right? So the cat people, it's a metaphysical entity, right? The cats are, which is why they have the reptilian genetic, the reptilian trait, because the reptilian eyes connects you to the 4th dimension. That means that you can see the 3rd dimension and the 4th dimension at the same time. So that's how intrinsic our genetical sequence was back then. So that's where they get a lot of these stories from. So basically, they're the personification of the cat people, because the cat people in ancient Kemet, the Sphinx is the personification of a feline that's connected to the Lyrans, which is also synonymous to the Anunnaki, right? So you had the Lyrans who gave these many different monolithic structures in ancient Kemet. They built the Sphinx that's in alignment with the Leo star constellation. Leo is personification of the lion. So now when you look at everything from the perspective of ancient Kemet, like I said, you got to understand etymology. You got to understand the prefix and the suffix of words. So Natiri, who is Motite, which also is synonymous to Moabite or Mayat, right? So now when you look at this right here, the 42 laws of Mayat. So in ancient Kemet, that was basically the symbology of balance. You got law and you got order. The masculine energy was a personification of law. The mother energy was a personification of order, meaning that it's under a matriarchal system, a matrilineal system. So also when you look at Moabite, which is also not synonymous to the name Moabite, right? It says that all hail the great Moabite Moorish woman. That's because they know that the matriarch of the human family is the inception of how everything basically was corresponded on the planet during that time, right? So it's not by accident that they got her name, and her last name is Moabite, which equates to Moabite or Mayat, because it's connected to your history, right? So now when you look at it from the perspective of the nomos, so you got different beings, and you got the reef people, the ones that was that the Navi people had to copulate with in order to combat the colonization process. They had to work in synergy with the reef people, who are the personification of the nomos. So now it tells you right here that an ancient tribe of people in Mali called the Dogon, also associated with the Sirius god. They claim to be the beings of the star system called nomos, once visited Earth and taught them arts and civilization. They were supposedly amphibious green humanoids who came from a watery planet, right? Also, let's not negate the fact that when Enki came to this planet, right, it was an all-water planet. It was an all-water planet. So now when you go to this publication right here, Enki, it says verbatim, the Sumerian god of water and knowledge, right? And crafts. Now, like I said, you go all the way back to what I just showed you right here. It says that verbatim, taught them civilization, right? Taught them knowledge, gave them edification on how to navigate the land. because now when you look at the word Navi, which equates to navigator, that translates to the word more, Navi, navigator, nationality, nativity, meaning that you have a birthright to the land because the Inky, the seeds of Inky were on this planet first. But like I said, the reef people, they're actually older than the Navi people, who the ones that lived on the land. So this was an all water planet at one point in time. These people are way older than the Navi people because they can navigate and circumnavigate the waters, and they can circumnavigate the land, right? So now, like I said, Inky is also connected to this because that's how you know he was on this planet first, right? Just based on the mythology of the Sumerian hieroglyphics and things of that nature, right? So now when you look, I'm going to show you this video here because, like I said, a lot of people like to basically dematerialize and negate the fact that these so-called beings were actually black people, but you fell in frequency because, you know, our genetical structure at that time, you know, we were blue. You know what I'm saying? Because like I told you, you eat the monatomic gold and you eat these dietary intrinsic elements and these metals, it'll turn your skin blue, which is also, you know, denotes the fact that when you fell in frequency, you know what I'm saying, you know, you was no longer blue or green, because we used to be green as well, which is kind of looks just like the reef people, because the only difference between melanin and chlorophyll is one magnesium particle. That's the only difference between our skin being brown, right? Because the hemoglobin structure was basically broke down due to the oxidation of the atmosphere that we have on our planet, right? So now I'm going to show you that, you know, these beings or the amphibious beings that came down, who are the seeds of Inky, when the Nomos came down, who are the personification of the green people that the Navi people had to amalgamate with, these people are so-called black people, and I'm going to prove it to you in this video right here.
So that you can have a look at that. I'm really pleased about it because normally we perceive aliens to be white, and that's never that very comfortable with me, frankly, when I know that it's not the case. This particular group are a black group. They're very benign, very friendly. I have encountered them, but I can't say that I'm anything like an expert on them, but I have encountered them. But they are not reptilian. The questioner uses the word reptilian. I can understand that because when you look at them, you would see the scales, you would see the whole shape. But the correct term is amphibian. They are a hybridized form of human and amphibian. They are black-skinned. They model themselves a little bit on human culture. That's because they have existed in the oceans of this planet.
So see, you know what I'm saying? This is a reality. This is a reality that they don't want to tell you because, you know, due to cultural appropriation in the name of anachronism, they basically dematerialize your history from you. So now you're looking outside of yourself instead of going within, because within, that's where the genetical sequence of who you are is connected to your the inception of your history, right? They don't want you to know that you were the first people on this planet. They don't want you to know that, you know, that there's a delineation between two different bloodlines on the planet. So now when you go to the Navi people, there is a delineation between Navi and the Avatar, right? The colonizers took up on the avatar of the Navi people. They're not original Navi people. So that's why Nateri, she called Monkey Boy, she said that he had demon blood, right? The reason he had demon blood because he had the RH factor, which is Rhesus monkey, right? So the dichotomy between the Navi and the Avatar people, the Navi people have 4 fingers, which is agreeable. The Avatar people have 5 fingers, which is disagreeable. So that's how you can tell the difference between the two. Also, you can tell by the hair follicle. Their hair follicle is 9 ether. Avatar people is hair follicle is 6 ether. That's how you could tell who was original Navi and who wasn't, right? That's how you was able to tell who was original Navi and who wasn't. So like I said, that's why in the movie they called him Monkey Boy. And you notice that they have a mask on him. That's because in order to breathe on that planet, because it was a hydrogen-based planet, in order to breathe on that planet, the people who have sulfur inside of their genetical sequence, they cannot take up on the hydrogen photon radiation because it would basically decimate their biological structure. So that's why the colonizers, they had to take up on the anatomy of the Navi people, the avatars, in order for them to breathe on that planet. So Monkey Boy right here, that's what they called him. They called him Monkey Boy because the people who write these scripts and these movies, they understand the inception of what really happened in the beginning of the inception of humanity. When you're talking about Yakub or Jacob in the book of Genesis in the Bible, right? So he had to wear a mask because, like I said, his anatomy wasn't conducive to the hydrogen-based planet. So that's where you get the concept of Monkey Boy comes from these beings right here, who are the Flugerods, who were genetically spliced in 4086 BC on the island of Patmos or the island of P-line when you're talking about theological context. So now when you go to, it says Yakub's albinoids would rape ebenoid women, creating mixed offspring with confused identities. Yakub's albinoids began to execute Yakub's plan for them to rule the planet for 6,000 years, right? So a man named Hamdu attempted to teach Yakub's grafted beings to convince them that they're devil to end their devilishment. However, this was still 1,400 years before the end of Yakub's genetically spliced people in 6,000 a 6,000 year period over dominion over the planet. So that's why they putting all these movies is out right now, because they putting it in the public domain because they got to give you the truth in these movies. They give you the fake stuff in the news and they give you the truth in the movies, right? It says also Yakub's grafted race, Earth, ruled Earth for 6,000 years, spreading devilishment, evil, pain, suffering, oppression, right? Colonization, dehumanization, and the oppression of the Ebenoid people of the Earth, who are indigenous to the planet, who are the seeds of Enki, right? And this was constructed due to the big head scientist called Yakub, right? And Yakub, the reason that happened is because his brain was hacked by Pleiadians. You know what I'm saying? So now when you look at it from all those perspectives, like I said, our history is really in the form of anachronism under cultural appropriation. So they give you our history and they monetize it all. They monetize everything. So like I said, it's not by accident. This says that, did you know, in case you haven't noticed, Avatar was created and based on the Neolithic people of Africa, South Sudan, Northern Kenya. The Nordic people are the tallest and darkest people in the world today. And the Noli people, well, the Nilotic people, is also by the Nile River. The Nile River, the Neolithic people, they have their genetical structure is also conducive to the Nile River because they have a lot of underwater valleys and underwater civilizations in that geographical landmass area. So just like that guy said, the personification of these aliens who are so-called mermaids are actually so-called black people, right? So like I said, man, you could just tell by, the genetical sequence, right? Where they get these stories from. Because I told you the Nomos, when they first came here, they gave the edification to the people who are the Dogons. How you think the Dogon tribe in Mali had the constellations mapped out way before NASA was created, right? That's because they got their edification from beings that came from a different star system and taught them how to live off the land. Navigator, right? Understand the prefix and the suffix of words. It's not by accident that they put all of it together. So with all that being said, you know, it's imperative that you get this information out and use this information for utility, because you know, the more things start to change on this planet, the more things start to be revealed on this planet. It's up to you to have the mental and spiritual fortitude to see beyond the BS and to decipher the semantics that's being played behind closed doors. So, like I said, they got to give you the truth in these movies, and they give you the fake stuff on television, right? Because, like I said, it's universal law that they got to give you the truth. Because we in the age of Aquarius. This is the age of knowledge. This is the age of information. This is the age of alignment, right? So it's not by coincidence, because nothing in the universe happens out of coincidence, because the universe is way too intelligent for that. So it's not by coincidence that we're going through a planetary alignment right now. All the planets right now are in alignment, which is also the symbology of evolution. So since you are a part of the planet through a microcosm or the macrocosm, you're supposed to be emulating the universe. You're supposed to be emulating what's going on in the cosmos, right? The cosmos, the planetary alignment, everything is starting to align together. So you should be in alignment with who you are. You should be tapping into your purpose. You should be, trying to, decipher what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So with all that being said, man, thanks for watching this video. This video was very important because it's showing you the infiltration of how the seeds of Enlil infiltrated the seeds of Enki for by stealing our birthright, which puts us under the artificial contract of being a prisoner of war in our own planet, right? Because the Earth is now a prison planet. So with all that being said, get this video out there. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with another one soon. End of transmission.